Hello everyone, it's Maddie and
Madison
from Spectrum Art, and we are going to be sharing some yummy buttons. Really quick video because it's not a process. We're not going to show you how to do any of it, but we just wanted to share an idea with you guys and save you hopefully lots of money. So I think we've all seen white buttons, so we all probably have a lot of white buttons. Some of us do. I know we did. A lot of them were vintage, but they were not actually in the cards. They were just, in a big old tin can that my mom had. And so we ended up with a plethora of white buttons. But if you do not have a whole bunch of white buttons, they definitely are the cheapest to go ahead and buy in bulk. Yeah, at Walmart or any other store. So even the dollar store, you're right, carries white buttons. So, but what do, right? Because, white's nice, and we do use a lot of white buttons, but sometimes you're like, blah, that's kind of, I wish I had more colors. Well, we went ahead and made our own. We had done a video previously where we had actually shared with you how to go ahead and use your alcohol inks to go ahead and make buttons. Well, of course, they're expensive because alcohol inks are not cheap. Not everyone has them, but guess what? Everyone can go out and get some of that Rit Dye, right? And this is the clothing dye. And you can tell that we had paid.
stains definitely.
It does, yes. We're gonna give you some precautions on that. Madison's right. But as you can tell, this was what, $2.99 for the actual box of dye. And one box will do hundreds and hundreds. I mean, sky's the limit probably on how many buttons you can go ahead and just soak in there. And we ended up with all of these. So I wanted to show you some of the colors and the different results that we actually obtained. So let me get a white piece of paper and we'll start with the purple. This is just purple dye. And as you can tell, the results really are different, and it varies because, of course, buttons vary. Some are more porous, some were more vintage, so they were a little bit yellowish to begin with, and some, just some were different materials too. So some were more of the pearl, so you see how that didn't take the color as well, but it still does have a really pretty purple hue. Whereas some of the cheaper buttons, probably this is one of the bigger cheaper ones, really soaked in that color. So it's amazing the rainbow of colors that you can actually get from just one box of dye. And they all pretty much were soaked the same amount of time. So I wanted to do a very fair comparison so that we wouldn't end up with, a whole bunch of different, variations as an experiment. I wanted to make sure that we all kept it evenly timed. So here's some of those. Aren't they cute? And the nice thing is you end up with a rainbow within the same family. So when you're doing cards or you're doing your projects, right, you actually end up with matching buttons within the same family already without any effort whatsoever. You don't have to worry about color coordinating because they will all coordinate. This one was the royal blue. So as you can tell, it is a lighter blue. Some of them did take in the color a little bit more, and it's cool because they almost ended up like marble, some of them. Where some of them just ended up, plain, pretty true to color to what the tag said, the royal blue. But aren't these adorable? And see, these are some of the vintage ones. You can tell this is vintage. And so is this right here. But even in the grooves, see how they actually fell into different hues within the grooves? It's so cool. So anywho, that is these. And I didn't do too much of that because I know we had navy blue. So I didn't want to do too many of the, of the blues. But here are the navy blues. And again, you can see the difference here. Some of those vintage ones again. Here's some, these actually almost took like a purplish blue hue where these really dyed navy blue. But let me show you, for example, these two right here. And you can see up close the details, hopefully. Let me see if I can bring up some more light and you guys can actually see how the pigment, the dye actually went into some of the cracks and the grooves and created, some really nice tones and marble effects. So that is the navy blue. I'm gonna leave that one for last because that's my favorite. This is the scarlet red, and look at that. Scarlet red actually ends up like a mauve, like in some pink. When these are Aren't these perfect for like shabby chic? Like seriously, look. These say shabby, totally. So yeah, and again, they're all within the same family. So if you wanted to create a card and use, you know, these 4 right here, look, they're already matched. All right, and then our favorite, which is why we went ahead and did a whole bunch, was the yellow, because the yellow just says vintage to me. It is just so vintagey yummy. Look at those. Cool, huh? Yeah, some of them still have the thread in there, which is even better. So there you go. Oh, that one's flipped upside down. You can see the difference. And we did a whole mess of them. And guess what? Now that we are done, because again, all you're doing is soaking them, guess what? Look, we still have, oh, I'm afraid to kind of flip it, but you can see how much liquid I still have in there. I have probably about half of this container. And this is a deli container, you know, medium size. And so we've got all of these still that we are going to be able to either make more buttons, maybe throw some, yeah, use them on papers, throw some lace. Oh my goodness, the sky's the limit, right? We're thinking about, because they're pretty concentrated, by the way. You notice that I didn't use a lot of water. Of course, we did lose some in the process of making these, but we didn't lose a whole lot, and I did keep them concentrated because the idea is that now we can go ahead and take half of it maybe and put them in spritzer bottles, and the other half we can still keep in the containers and throw laces or whatever it is that we want to put in there to even coordinate now with these two. But word to the wise, right? Caution. This is permanent dye, yeah, you know, that you use on clothing. So if it gets on your clothes, if it gets on your counters, if it gets on anything, you're gonna end up with having dyed, including your hands. Wear gloves. And the instructions, by the way, clearly tell you to use gloves. So follow all those precautions. Use a plastic garbage bag or a tablecloth to cover. And don't forget, save your napkins. Look, guys, we have some yummy paper towels that were used to mop up, or to rest, or to clean the lids, or whatever it was, wipe our hands, whatever. Yeah, whatever we were doing. This one's still fairly clean. But we ended up with all of these. Some of them need more color, like this we'll probably use with other things to mop up, but some of them are pretty yummy. So all of that from just that one experiment. Wanted to come on and actually share that with you guys, and we hope that you'll try it. Let us know if you do, because it was fun. Right? Yeah, give us some ideas. What other things should we dye? Let us know. We love to hear. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Have a blessed day. Bye.